All right, welcome people. So great. I love doing this because I love having an opportunity to see folks, even if we're not in the same room together. Sally, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, good. I took a photo to send to you this weekend and I didn't get around to it, but I was in the Boston area and there is a new mall, or it's like redone, and there were these big pictures of tacos. So I took a picture of myself in front of the taco and I'll be sure to send it.
That means a lot. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to get started, and then if folks start to trickle in, we'll let them in and then they can introduce themselves. But I thought I'd do a quick intro and then I'd have Toby and Michelle introduce themselves. And since we have only a few people here, I'd love for you guys to introduce yourselves as well after we do that. And if you like and you want to put in the chat your contact information, do that, because I think it's a really great way for other professionals to get to know each other and build their community. And that's what this is all about today. So I'm Sandra Costello, and I'm a portrait and brand photographer, and I'm located on Cape Cod, but I will shoot just about anywhere, including Italy, Isabella.
Let's go.
Yeah. And, you know, it's been really fun having all of these webinars where we're talking about building a brand and what that looks like and ways in which you can do that. And I wanted to bring on Toby and Michelle because they both are really, they have become my business besties, and we have learned so much from each other, including building lead magnets, how they work, because I had no clue in the beginning. I was like, what the heck is a lead magnet? How do I even put it out there? How does it work? And these two ladies have been really kind and smart around how to do all of that. And I imagined that other folks who are running their own businesses are thinking about how do they attract people into their worlds. And so I'm going to pass it off to Toby to let her introduce herself, and then Michelle, and then I would love to do a quick check-in with each of you ladies, just for an intro.
Thank you, Sandra. And I am Toby Myles. I'm a copywriter, and I work with women entrepreneurs to help them grow their lists, attract their dream clients, and build a brand that feels authentic through on-brand, authentic email marketing, content creation, and I try to make it easy to attract your ideal clients by knowing who it is that you're speaking to. And I couldn't agree more with Sandra. We have learned so much from each other. And what I love about the digital space and the online community is that we really do get to choose who we work with. The days of having a business where you can only serve people in your community are long gone. In fact, I, for one, can say none of my clients live anywhere near me. So the possibilities really are endless. You just need to know how to attract the right people to your brand and then speak to them in a way that lets them understand that you understand what their pain points are. And that's it.
Thank you, Toby. All right, Michelle.
Michelle LaRue, and my company is Sonia Blue Digital Marketing, named after my lovely daughter, who, when she was little, had the favorite color of blue dark. So I used to call her Sonia Blue LaRue, and she would say, "I am not Blue LaRue, I am Sonia." So I am forever immortalizing her little impetuousness in my title of my company. So I'm really become a marketing engineer. So I'm a trained engineer, and I did work in the field of environmental compliance and sustainability for about 25 years. And then it's hard to pinpoint the exact origin, but about four or 5 years ago, I made a pivot so that I would have my own business and have a little bit more freedom and flexibility in raising my daughter on my own. So I help other entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small businesses with their online business strategies, sales, marketing, funnel creation, offer strategy, etc. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, I'm gonna ask Isabella if you'll go next, and then we'll go to Sally and then Sue. How about that?
Sounds good. Hello, everybody. My name is Isabella Delloglio. I live in Amherst, Massachusetts. That's how I met Sandra when she was in Western Mass. Now, lucky, she's very lucky. She lives on Cape Cod. I'm very jealous, by the way. So, but I am originally from Italy, from Bologna. I was born there and raised there, and then I moved here many years ago. Anyway, I'm a portrait photographer.
A very nice one at that.
Thank you. You too. And that's it. I have 2 kids, but they are older now. They're in college. So yeah. And I love to travel. So I'll go anywhere to photograph.
I want to ask you one other question, and I'm going to ask you other 2 ladies this too. What about today's session was of interest to you?
Well, it was at a good time that I could attend.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do realize that I do send a newsletter religiously. And it is really hard to grow the list organically, right? Like, I mean, there's only so much. And, but every time I send it, I really do have few bookings somehow. And so I think it's really important, and anything that can help to grow this list, I'll do.
Okay.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Reason.
Within reason.
We got you, don't worry.
This seems safe.
Today's all legal.
Totally G-rated here.
Yeah. Okay, good.
And one other thing is that I struggle with like sales. I'm not a salesperson. Like Sandra, you are amazing. I don't know how you do it, but like I use social media because I have to, because that's the only way.
Yeah.
Boy, the writing, the selling, that it's just like not me. So
yeah. Okay. I think these are things that many other professionals feel as well. And I'm really glad that you raised all of those issues, because I think we can touch on them as we go over the next hour. All right, great. Thank you, Isabella. Sally, you want to go?
Sure. Hi, I'm Sally, and I am also in Western Massachusetts. I'm in the Florence area, which is how I know Sandra. She took my incredible headshots and then my mom's incredible headshots. And I mentioned my mom because I am now an owner in the business that my mom started 40 years ago. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary. It was a few weeks ago called the Lisa Eckes Group, and now is called the Eckes Group. We are a full service culinary agency specializing in literary and talent representation for cookbook authors, food writers, social media influencers, professional chefs, and RDs, and everyone in the sort of culinary-ish space. And I recently launched a course called How to Write a Cookbook, which is a self-paced online directed course that I need to sell because I've been working for the better part of a year to package our 4 decades of expertise into a self-paced online course. And Now it's time to market and sell it, which is not my strong suit in the traditional sense. I can do a lot one-on-one, and I really am interested in networking. But when it comes to things that involve drips or campaigns or strategies, it kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. And I love Sandra, and so anything she's hosting, I'm interested in. And I love connecting with other like-minded female entrepreneurs. So that's what brings me here today.
Well, wouldn't it be nice to put something out in the world and all the little drips and all the reminders and all that stuff was automated?
Yes, it would. Is that Enter Michelle maybe? Or yeah,
That
great.
is Michelle. Yes.
Hold up your website. So, okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about that because that was something I really wanted. And I was like, I don't know how it works. Help me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds great. Automated drips that don't involve a plumber sound ideal.
Like that. I'm stealing that. Sorry.
Total, have it, please.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Sally. All right, Sue, another Cape Coddy.
Another Cape Cod, yes. So I'm Sue Toplansky. Currently, I have a full-time job at the Gestalt International Study Center, where I'm a program coordinator. But as of May 19th, I am going to be back to my freelance photography world. So, yay!
Yeah,
So it's a really big leap for me because I'm not really ready to do that. But I just have to do it. I have to believe in myself and believe that this is going to happen. So I want to do it the right way. Before I moved to the Cape, I had, I felt I had a successful portrait photography business. I just didn't make any money at it because I didn't do it the right way. I feel I have the skill, I have the talent. I don't have the business chops. So I really want to learn the right way to do it. Now I want to move more into pet photography. So yeah, and that's a whole new thing. So there's a lot of things I need to learn and I want to do it the right way. So I saw this and, look at Sandra, look at that sequin top. I just feel like freak. She knows what she's doing. I need to watch her. I don't want to compete with her. I just want to watch her and learn the tricks and I'm doing pet photography. It's different than what she's doing. So I feel like we could really have some fun. So that's why I'm here.
That's all I can say.
What did you say, Michelle?
What'd you say? Sorry.
It's called TikTok or Instagram Reels. That's where you need to be for pets.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I might be, working with you to get me going.
I decided I needed to learn more about TikTok because I have a client that's interested in it. And now I spend more hours than I want to admit watching kitten videos and little doggy videos and the pets get great exposure. So we'll talk later. Sorry, I had to say that.
Thank you. See, this is why I'm here. I need some guidance because I'm ready to do it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Well, I always feel like whenever you're surrounded by folks who are successful in whatever it is that they're doing and they know more than you, that's the place to be. So that's part of what these webinars are about, is collecting other professionals who are eager, excited, doing interesting things and willing to share that. So with that, I'm going to ask Toby to just talk a little bit about what a lead magnet is, because I think it's easy to imagine it in one or two ways, but there are so many other ways that you can put yourself out there that works.
Yes, for sure. There's not just one way. There's many ways, and the key is to test and find the way that works for you and that really is something that's appealing to your dream client. So it's not a one size fits all. You might hear it, lead magnet, also called a freebie, an opt-in, a giveaway, or a tripwire. And the goal is to attract your ideal client. And in exchange, they're going to give you your contact information, specifically their email address. Sometimes name, birthday. You can ask for things like that, which can come in handy down the road if you want to offer special birthday promotions. The idea is that it's going to move people that resonate with your brand and also your loyal followers from wherever else you show up, social media or at in-person events. It's going to move those people from wherever else you know them onto your email list. And essentially what they're saying is, wow, I think that you, the professional, are somebody that I might like to hire somewhere down the road. So I'm going to hop on your list. Yes, I'm going to get your freebie, but I want to know what you're all about. I want to understand your brand. And so what you want to decide with your lead magnet when you're trying to figure out what to offer, you want to consider that it should provide the audience with a quick win. It should provide them with a transformation or an aha moment. It can be a quick reference guide, and essentially it gets them ready for the transformation that you're about to offer. So it's really important to make it something that's easy to consume. It should be related to your brand. It should give you an opportunity to demonstrate your mastery, and it should be the beginning of your relationship with that person. And trying to decide what to offer, and I'll let Michelle talk about all the juicy details of a lead magnet. But when you're trying to decide what to offer, start with the end in mind. So think about, where do you want this person to be after they get on their list and after they receive your series of welcome emails, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow. At the end of those welcome emails, do you want them to be ready to get on a call with you? Do you want them to be ready to book a session? Do you want them to be ready to join a membership or a masterclass? Do you want them to be ready to attend a workshop? Those are all, it's a lot, but those are all the things that you're going to sit down and consider when you're trying to decide what it is that you want to offer. And again, Michelle will talk about all the things, but there's literally, I actually have my lead magnet in the works is a lead magnet about lead magnets. So it's a whole brainstorm guide of ideas, and it's close to being 99. When it's done, there'll be 99 ideas for your lead magnet. So I'll make sure you guys all have access to that by the end of the week. But anyway, I did want to mention, because Sandra and I were talking about this, I gave a talk on Instagram Live a few weeks ago with a woman that I know who's a Pinterest expert, and she invited me to talk about lead magnets because I love to talk about lead magnets and nurture sequences. And we had it scheduled for a Wednesday, and something was going on with Instagram and we were never able to go live. And we tried multiple times and it just didn't happen. And we had multiple people saying, where's the link? What's going on? I want to join. I'm ready to join. And so it further reinforced the idea that you cannot rely strictly on social media. We've all seen it. We've seen Facebook go down. We've seen Instagram go down, all the things. And so those platforms, they own your followers. You don't own your followers. So on the flip side, when people are on your list, they have raised their hand and they say, I am interested in you. I'm interested in your brand. I'm interested in what you have to offer. I'm raising my hand. I'm giving you my personal information because I want to know more about you, your brand, your journey, your story. So that's your gold right there. Your email list is your gold, and it's equally an important part of your entire marketing strategy, along with whatever else you're doing in person or on social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that
Great.
is, I think, kind of like a high level view of what a lead magnet is and how you will decide which is the right one for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is great, Toby. It makes me think about how I started really activating my email list during the pandemic as a way to connect with folks. And then later when I was back to shooting, and similar to you, Isabella, like, you know, when people get an email from you, they're reminded of you and they often book with you. And I thought, well, look at this, it's working. I mean, it's not actually that hard. You just are consistently communicating with the people who want to stay connected with you. And so with that, I'm going to pass it along to Michelle to talk about different examples and inspiration for lead magnets.
Thanks, Sandra. And I'm going to hope that I'm correct in how I share my screen. Let's see. I'm going to grab that and start. And let's see, everybody can see that, right? I know you
Yes.
can see the screen actually. Let's make this go away. Okay, is it terrible that I can't remember how to make it click and go away?
I think you want to click on slideshow.
Little,
But when I
cursor
do-
or carrot down at the bottom if you put.
There you go. Okay, so does that work? Can you guys see that? All right.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, then I just have to figure out how to get to the next one, but I'm going to assume it's what Sandra said and I'll just click.
I think you can use the arrow.
Yeah.
There's an arrow. Oh, it worked. Yay. Okay, can you tell that I don't do this part very often? I write
It takes a village.
Great. So thank you. So I've already introduced myself and, you know, told you a little bit about my company's name, but, you know, I really just want to say that I love that this is the group of folks that have shown up for this, because you know, Sandra and Toby and I met in a kind of an online mastermind that we were a part of last year. And it was, you know, Gen X women who have, you know, kind of a ton of knowledge and experience and expertise in the subject matters that we have all pursued. But sometimes we need a little help figuring out how to make our businesses go. And that to me is really fascinating, and it's really satisfying to work with people who want to do that. You know, I spent a lot of time in the corporate realm, and after, you know, I work in the Washington, D.C. area, and I've worked on lots of government contracts and lots of for private companies too. But, you know, it's really a company town. And if your agency decides they're done with you or done with the project, you know, your job is gone, or your position is gone, or they've moved on to somebody else. And, you know, the last time that happened, instead of scrambling to find a different kind of position where I'd be at the same risk all over again, I thought, you know, it'd be really great to be able to run my own economy and create my own wealth and my own business and run it the way that I want to run it. And I think a lot of people in the Gen X and millennial groupings, which I think is what we're representing here, really want that too. And so I find it really satisfying to work with people to help them realize that kind of dream. So you guys will get all these slides, by the way, so don't feel obligated to, you know, take it all in or take mad scribble notes, because you'll get to have all these yourself. But okay, so let's get on to the presentation a little bit. So Toby gave a really excellent overview of this, but, you know, really part of what we want to think about is, why do you even need a lead magnet? And I think that, you know, we've all become accustomed to the websites that say, sign up for my newsletter, which is truly awesome, but it is not always enough to get people into your world. You have to offer something else that's, you know, enticing to get them to say, yeah, I want to start a relationship with you. So, you know, first and foremost, your lead magnet is about list building. But, you know, another key thing that Toby mentioned also is, it's really a way for them to get to know you in how you work with people. How do you put information together? How do you serve ideas to them? You know, do you hit them over the head with things that are too obvious? Or do you, you know, is it someone that leaves out gaps in information? You know, Sally, when you were talking about like people in the food industry, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with Martha Stewart. And I swear, when I used to try to recreate her recipes, I would read them and think, there's something missing here. She left out something really critical that I can't figure out. And so, you know, when then I discovered Ina Garten, who seemed to make everything easy, it's like, oh, that's the kind of person I want to work with. That's the kind of cook I want to work with. So, you know, you get a chance to show people whatever it is that makes you, you. Is it level of detail? Is it interesting ingredients? Is it a fresh approach to photography? Is it the care you take with your clients to prepare them for a photo shoot, or to tell them if it's an incident like the pandemic, how do you use photos that you already have? How do you recreate your own photos in a way that makes it look like not just a kind of a selfie that somebody took on a moment's notice? And most importantly, the final reason you really need a lead magnet is, as Toby was also saying, you want to get them to take the next step into your world. So that could be, you know, click here to download this, sign up for my blog, my newsletter, my podcast, my private feed for this, you know, join my Facebook group or my, you know, group on another platform, or grab my template, get these swipes to get started. I want to help you solve the problem that you're having. So, you know, what are the types of lead magnets? I'm now feeling embarrassed. I thought a really long list of lead magnets on the next slide, but I do not have 99. So perhaps I will be expanding this presentation after I see Toby's list. But, you know, we've all seen the classic, you know, download this PDF and it's, you know, a checklist or 5 reasons why, or, you know, an infographic. And the reason those keep being options is they work. You download those all the time. They're a really great way to get to know, how does this person operate? What's their level of knowledge? What can they teach me? How are they going to present it? But it really is true that you have so many options. So we're going to talk about a few of them, and then I'm going to talk in a little bit more detail about how to create things that are word-based, audio-based, and video-based. So this is my list of lead magnets, and I'm thinking there's like 20 here. So there's not 99, but it will give you a great sense of the kinds of things that you can do. And, you know, for the types of businesses you all have described, there are multiple versions of these that could be effective for you. The checklist is, you know, a classic and one I would not overlook. You know, things to think about when you're hiring a pet photographer. You know, use it to educate them as well as lead them to the fact that you have thought of these things, and give them this effective tool to evaluate. Oh, you know, this is a good thing in a pet photographer. This is something I wouldn't have thought about. If you are promoting food brands, you have a lot of options in terms of, it could be, you know, maybe it's something like, it could be an actual recipe. It could be, you know, we call it like a swipe or a template. It could also be a how to set up your own digital cookbook with your family favorite recipes. It could be a calculator that you would use to say, how do I convert from grams to cups, and for different materials, because it's different for flour than it is for, say, butter, because we have European recipes that measure everything and US recipes that use volumes. What am I missing here? I'm looking at my list. I'll let you read them yourself, but I was trying to think. For portrait photography, we, as Sandra mentioned, she was very gracious in crediting Toby and I, but really she had a lot of the ideas herself. But we talked about, why do you need portrait, more than portrait photography, more than a headshot? Why do you need photos to be able to promote your business? And, you know, it was one of those things that I never really thought about until I got into the world where I knew somebody like Sandra. I mean, I had 2 or 3 marginally acceptable photos that I was kind of using everywhere until, you know, I started getting into the world of doing, you know, mini brand shoots. And I still have one to claim at some point from Sandra, because we haven't been in the same state yet. But it really got me thinking about it. And, you know, when I put photos of myself into my website or into my, you know, funnels and my lead magnets, things like that, I'm really much more proud of them now than I was before. So, you know, you can think beyond the traditional download and do something really super creative. And I think before I go to the next slide, I want to pause and say, does anybody have any questions about anything on this list in terms of how they might use it, or does it give you any ideas for something that you hadn't thought about before?
I have a question. What's Trello?
Oh.
Hello
Oh.
is like, it's, if you think about what I would call normally like a bulletin board that you have hanging up like a cork board and you stick index cards and pins on it, Trello is the electronic version of that. So it's basically a bunch of electronic boards. And what's really neat is that you can share them. You could create one, for example, that's the what to do a week before your portrait or a month before, like, you know, if you're going to get your hair cut, here's when you go do it. When do you pick your outfit? Here's some resources to decide what colors you should choose or what you should wear. I am not, you know, a sporty fit person. And when I had some pictures recently, I didn't realize that I needed to do 3/4 length sleeves because sleeves that stop here don't look as flattering on everybody from certain angles. So you could have something that's essentially like a really detailed checklist or a process for them to move through and capture it in Trello. So does that help a little bit to explain what it is?
Yeah,
Great.
thank you.
Yes.
I want to jump in for 1 second because when I used to think about lead magnets, I always thought about something you could download, and that's cool. But I think there is, like you said it earlier, both you and Toby said this. We are giving people a sense of who we are and what we do and why they want to work with us. And I never thought about this until Toby pointed it out. These webinars that I've been doing with folks, these webinars are lead magnets.
Mhm.
It is an opportunity for me to share a little bit about who I am and what I do. One of the things I love to do is create community. So women come together and they learn whatever it is that we're talking about building your brand. And in addition to that, I'm growing my email list. From the last month and a half in which I've been doing these webinars, I've collected 200 new emails.
Wow.
At least. And so, you know, depending on what it is that you do, you know, something like this is really great. So like, I'm like so appreciative when all of you are saying such nice things about me. I really like that makes me feel so good. But that's partly because we've worked together. We've been together. You know me. But folks who don't know me will not they will not be able to get to know me from a PDF. Maybe a little bit. I can crack a couple of jokes in there and show a few pictures. But being able to do this gives you a sense of like, oh, I find her really annoying, or I love her. I cannot wait to work with her. And so I think there are so many different kinds of lead magnets that you can consider that are not just on paper.
Right.
Sandra,
I think
I just wanted to add, because it relates to the point, Sandra, we all know that you're very extroverted. You know, you have that bubbly personality, and I don't knock you for that because I'm quite the opposite. And so I think that's also something to consider. If you're someone who's introverted and you don't like to do video or show up, then that might not be the ideal lead magnet for you. I'm a writer, so obviously I would prefer to write than to, you know, stand in front of a room of people. I learned how to do it out of necessity, but that would not be like a series of webinars would probably live webinars at that would not be something I would choose, but it's a great way. It's probably one of the best ways because you really do get a sense of a person's personality, but not if it's going to, give you,
Hives.
hives and yeah, spend the night in the back room.
I'm so glad that you made that point, because I think it is really true. Like, I remember talking about networking, which is another way to make connections. Some people hate to network. And so I remember talking to someone who was super introverted, and I said, you don't have to go to a big networking event where everybody's drinking and being like weird, because it can be weird. What if you started a book club? Like, there's so many different ways that you can connect with people that feels authentic to you. And that's like what's so great about this conversation is you can do it on your own terms.
Yeah, I think that's completely right. And, there are ways to do, if video training is what you need to do, there's ways to do it without showing your face too. You can just have a little picture of you and a voice and still have that kind of live connection. So yeah, anyway, I think we've hopefully made the point that there are lots of creative ways that you can come up with lead magnets. And let me go on to just, some really basics in terms of how to create them. And I put this in terms of like written, because I'm kind of a word person too. So that's what I tend to think about. And, if you have already created a training, a document, a worksheet, or a checklist, that can be made into a really great lead magnet. I should put template
Michelle,
on here too.
Michelle, I don't want to rush you, but I am just checking the time. I see it's 12:40. So
And I don't know how to go backwards. I did. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Yes, it is. It's 12:40. So I'm going to go through these a little bit faster so we can spend some more time talking about it. But, if you've got something that you've created for a client, if you've done some existing trainings, if you have a checklist that you use yourself, if you have a worksheet that you use, for example, when you sit down for a photo shoot and it's something you can adapt to, telling someone how to prepare for it, or how to write a recipe that somebody can follow. There's a lot of recipes that, again, leave out steps that, even experienced cooks know there's something missing here. There are people, I've been seeing a lot more use of quizzes, and that can be used if you're trying to get people to to pay attention to themselves and their personality types. It could be what's your brand archetype for your business or for your style of parenting or whatever. If you've got some kind of process, procedure, approach, written case studies, if you've got some great examples, like Toby's example of here's why it was great to have a list when, social media failed, that's a great thing to use. And a lot of times you can use these multiple ways in a blog post, a newsletter, and as a standalone on your lead magnet. Okay, let's see if I can do this now. An audio lead magnet, you can record meditation or some kind of training. You could do, there's private podcasts, which I'll talk about just briefly in a minute, where it's people are in your feed and you're basically able to drip audio trainings or directions or thought-provoking conversations, and it's a software. You can use a software that does that for you, and in a way you don't have to worry about trying to grow your podcast and get it popular enough for people to find you, because you're basically sending them this private feed, and it's great for people who like to listen to things while they're walking the dog or just out for a jog or driving or whatever. If you have a public podcast, you can do the very same kind of thing. And if you do Zoom trainings or webinars like this, or YouTube videos, you can strip out just the audio and package that as a separate file that you can share with people. To do a video lead magnet, you can do, it's going to sound very familiar, a YouTube recording. You can use the video capabilities built into Facebook, like thinking about doing a Facebook Live, and then you can download the video later. or an Instagram reel or a TikTok video. There may be ways to use those in a way that give people examples or training or inspiration for how to do it themselves, and also teach them, you know, here's how I get a dog ready for a photo shoot or something like that. And you can show a lot more in an edited, you know, 1 minute TikTok than maybe you can by writing it out in words. You could also just create video by using the recording software on your laptop and creating an, you know, MP4 style file that you can then share with people to download or to watch live stream on one of your platforms yourself.
Michelle, I know that this is probably coming, and but I want to just kind of want to get to the bit, like how do you put it out there for folks to find the lead magnet? Like, where do you place the stuff so people
We're
can?
almost there. We're getting
Okay.
right there. So give me 2 minutes to go through the tools again, because some people maybe haven't thought about some of these, and some of these are paid tools, but many of them are free or very low cost. So Canva has a really great free option that you can use to create beautiful design. If you need to create an image or a video, they now have video editing capabilities too. You can of course create things in the Microsoft suite and in the Apple version of it. There are a lot of people who have very successful lead magnets that are just a Google Sheet or a set of slides or a document or even a calendar. You can create a calendar that's like a study plan or a book writing plan that people can then subscribe to and upload into their calendar. And it helps them with prompts into, here's what you should be doing now. Here's what you should do now. Very, very useful and powerful. Some things that I won't get into. Yeah, too much because I know we're short on time, but there's a really great software that I've been trying out called Hello Audio. That's a private podcast. And you think, why would you want to use a private podcast instead of just creating some, you know, audio files? And here's the answer. The answer is because everybody who has a phone has got a podcast app, and it doesn't have to be the same one. So when you use Hello Audio, people can effectively get to your content faster without having to say, where did I download this? Where's that file? Or they finish one file and they want to go to the next one and they can't find it, or they're out of order. So it's a really nice organizational tool if you're somebody who's more auditory based. Bonjoro is a way to send a video letter to somebody, like directly. Again, they don't have to click on too many things and open links up. It can be a really powerful way to follow up when you've got a really great lead. It might not even be just a lead magnet. It could be reinforced when somebody fills out an application or something that you have and you want to reach out with a personal, very personal type of thank you. Podcast tools, all the tools that are on social media, Pinterest, which I didn't even have much time to talk about, but there's a lot you can do with Pinterest. Vimeo is a great place, as is YouTube, to store videos, and you have some of that can be done for free. And then some of the editing software that you can use that I like the best are Camtasia and Screencast-O-Matic. Camtasia, I think, comes on the Mac. Screencast-O-Matic is a very inexpensive video editing software, so it can be great to use. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next one. And now, how do we get it out there? That is the question, isn't it? After you've created it, where do you put it? Your lead magnet should always be in your email signature, because you're putting that everywhere anytime you correspond. It should be on your website if you have one, and that can be done through a form to request, like basically it's a sign up for it. I think if I'm doing this correctly, when we're finished with this presentation, I'm going to show you some examples that I have queued up of like how you do it, like how I've done it. Basically it can be a, you know, fill this out to get my free checklist of what you need to know before you cut your hair 3 weeks before a photo shoot, you know, or something like that. And then it's usually delivered through an email link. So people put in their email address through the form. The form triggers the delivery of the lead magnet. And that can be done through funnel software, through a lot of email software, things like MailChimp, ConvertKit, Acuity, things that you have of that nature, you might have already, can be used to do it. And there's other ways as well. You can do it through a lead magnet funnel. Like I have funnels set up, and a funnel I would think of as just, it's basically a directed website that has one purpose to it, and that's to drive your consumer to take a particular action. It's usually click, sign up, or join, so that there's that interchange that starts the conversation. You should have it on your bio, on your social profiles, all over the place. There should be a way for people to get your lead magnet. So on Facebook, for example, I'll show you, I have my banner set up, and what some people don't know is that you can set the banner up, and it's basically like a big comment that if you click on the banner of somebody's Facebook cover, it shows the comment that's attached to it. That's where you can put the link. So it can be, you know, click here for details, and if people click on it, it gives them that link. Your email list, your broadcast emails, your newsletters, all of that is a great way to share it always, like in the bottom of the signature line, or, you know, anything that you've got that's like a footer or a banner. And then anytime you put out some social content that educates people, include a link to that freebie somewhere in the middle of your, you know, value content, which could be, again, sorry, Sue, I keep using the same dog photography, but, you know, how to make sure your dog behaves well when you take her for pet photos. You know, it might be advice on when to feed them, when not to feed them, how to make sure they're in a happy mood, etc. So you could have this whole thing that describes it, and then the lead magnet could be, you know, whatever you've created, and it's a link within that content that you've shared. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh, good. Yeah. And you know what? I was going to say, Michelle.
That's the end.
Will you say that one more
Something
time?
froze.
Yeah. Will you say that one more time,
Oh,
Michelle?
I was just saying you froze. That's all.
Oh, I froze. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to put a link in the chat actually for the lead magnet page, similar to what you were talking about on my website. I'm going to put it in the chat. I think this is the right URL. And, you know, this is an opportunity for folks to go directly there, sign up, see what I'm talking about, and then they get entered into this nurture sequence, which is what Toby will talk more about tomorrow. But the piece that Michelle has told us a lot about is like, how do you get people like engaged? How do you get them in there? Will you share some examples, Michelle?
Yeah, somehow I can't stop sharing. I'm trying to figure that out. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Stopping sharing over here, and then I'm going to give you guys the examples. Sorry about that. Can you tell I don't navigate this very often? Okay, so you want me to give the examples of the lead magnets? I'm going to go to
I think it's great for folks to see how, like, where they appear.
Yeah, I'm going to show you. Let me start with Toby's. Cassandra took her wonderful pictures. Everyone can see that, right? Am I actually sharing? Nope, I have to click. Oh God, sorry. I'm usually better at this. Okay, now you can see it, right?
Yes.
Yes. So if you notice, Toby's is at the top, right here. Download your free guide. If you click on that, you're going to get to her form. For her, even her current, she's redoing this to something more fabulous. But this is a beautiful, you could see it's like an infographic with all of the things that helps you start attracting your client by creating list building device content newsletters. I can't get the words out today. So now let me switch to Sandra's. Sandra's also is at the very top. And if you click on it.
You know what? I'm not seeing you sharing the screen. Can everyone else see it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just having some problems with my Zoom. All right, never mind.
Huh. Well, you know what?
Try if you see little dots, try swiping them.
No, I've been having some troubles. I don't want to interrupt. You keep going.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, you'll definitely want to check out the replay then. So
I will
and
be.
This is where Sandra's form is. Notice this is a form. And when you fill out this form and then click on tell me more, it triggers a link to her. It's actually in her, it's constant contact, right?
Yes.
And it actually creates a link to her constant contact, and the lead magnet lives in like a file directory there and gets attached and gets sent, and then puts the reader into an email sequence to nurture them and, you know, welcome them into Sandra's world. And then I'll show you mine. Sorry,
I
go
have
ahead.
to say, it's really sweet. I mean, it's like, I don't have to do anything. People put their email in, I get a notification that they've started, and then every other day they get a new email as a way to encourage them to consider booking a shoot with me. And there's like, I think 6 or 7 emails, which Toby wrote for me. And Michelle built the mechanism in which it all, you know, gets started. And then, and it's really good. Like I would encourage you even to just click on my page, put your email in so that you can see for yourself how that works.
And if you subscribe to things, if you notice things that you really like and people have done well, save copies of that, and we call it a swipe file. And it's not meant to be, you know, copied word for word, but it can inspire you to say, oh, on this day, they're talking about, you know, how photographs preserve beautiful memories. And on this day, they're talking about how, you know, it shows a legacy of a family, or, you know, other days it's the how to give your website a fresh new look. So you can get ideas from reading how other people write about their selves, their lead magnets. Do you want to do the map, Sandra? I just have mine up to show. Mine is just a form that's here. And then there's actually also a pop-up, which honestly, I think they're obnoxious, but I read that they worked, so I started doing it.
I know that we have about 5 minutes left, so I did want to give people a chance to ask specific questions about, you know, whether or not you're doing lead magnets and you have questions, or you haven't started to do them and you're still unsure. Do you guys have any questions that you want to throw out there?
It's a lot. It's a lot. I feel I need to like digest it, look at it. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's session, but I just feel it's going to be a lot to take in.
I think one way to really simplify the process is to figure out who you want to connect with. What is the problem? What is one problem you can solve for them? So for example, like Sally, with the course that you've created for folks, it is a way to help people figure out how to get published. Like that's what they want to know. So you've created this course so that they can learn about that. And as they learn about it, they'll either say, okay, maybe I can do this myself, or they say, I really need Sally to help me make this happen. And either way, it is a great way for folks to understand what your expertise is and how to really connect with that. So I don't think it has to be complicated. I think the first piece is figuring out who you want to connect with, what problem you can solve for them, and what you can offer to them. And then the next piece is getting into the logistics, like, I was grateful to have Michelle on my team who could say, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to connect this to your website. And then it triggered the next step, which is what Toby's going to talk a lot about tomorrow.
Yeah, Sandra, can I just add too, because Sue, I totally get it. I think maybe, I don't know if any of you have teams. I have, I'm making my first virtual assistant hire after almost 3 years in business. So I am my team and I reach out to people to help me. So I understand that feeling of overwhelm. And so what I would say is, just because you decide on something now that is like the simplest, like 1-page PDF, it does not mean that that is your lead magnet forever. But I would just not want you to miss people coming to your website and not be able to capture them. So do like the basic bare bones, 1 download, maybe 2 emails as a follow-up, and just start to get people on your list, because once they're on your list, now you can start to form those relationships. And so I would not let like all the options, like all the possibilities overwhelm you. Just pick one thing and just do it. I mean, that's like Michelle gratefully showed my lead magnet, but honestly, when I look at that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that thing is almost 3 years old. And when I did it at first, I loved it. And now I'm like, oh gosh, I really needs to be updated, which is why I'm creating another. But it has served its purpose, and you can rotate them too seasonally. You can pick different ones and refresh them.
You can have more than one.
You can have more than
Yeah.
one. Mhm. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, we will wrap up, but what I'm going to do is I will do a follow-up email from today's session, and then we will meet again tomorrow to talk about the next stage. Once people get onto your list, then what do you do, right? And I think there are many ways in which you can interact with that list. Before we finish up, I want to tell folks, if you go to the chat, if you want to save what was in the chat, in your chat box down at the bottom right, hopefully it's the same for you as it is for me, there are 3 dots, and if you click that, it'll say save chat, and that will it will download to your system once you hang up, once we finish up. And I'm also happy to include the chat in the recording so you can look at it that way as well. We'll see each other tomorrow at noon. And I hope
sending out a replay, right, Sandra? So if they missed it and need to take it in again, they can.
Absolutely. Yes, totally. Because I think there's a lot of juicy bits that Michelle shared today that I think you're going to want to see again. And I think when we see things for the second time around, we're more prepared for it, so we can take it in a little easier.
Yep. Well, thank you very much. It was very informative. I really liked it. I'm going to hire Sandra, Michelle, and Toby. You're all my team girls.
We like teams.
We're big fans of teams.
We
are really
All right.
good.
Thank you.
Thanks
See you
so much.
tomorrow.
All right.
All right.
Nice to meet everybody.
Later.
Bye.
Thanks, ladies.